Morning, guys. Welcome to Coffee Chat. Man, yesterday I was having such internet problems. I wasn't able to get that video out until quite late in the evening. And living out in the country is great, guys. But believe it or not, they do not have real broadband out where I live yet. And I've been on that list for Starlink for well over a year, and it hasn't come to me yet. So I don't know what's going on anyway. But guys, I wanted to talk about something else. I've been reading a few articles about a lot of these banks that are limiting the withdrawal limits from the ATM to like $300. Then, if you do go into the bank and you want to take out, let's say 2 or 3,000 bucks, that you almost have to have an appointment to do it because they don't have that kind of cash sitting in the bank. Now, I get it that, hey, look, when it comes to the amount of funds that are on deposit in banks and the actual amount of physical currency, there's roughly, I think it's like 6% of real physical cash. So not everyone's going to be able to get their cash. But on average, you would think like a few $1,000s is not a big deal. But limiting people to maybe $300 worth of withdrawals, I mean, you can't really do much with $300 these days. But needless to say, I've heard about it and I haven't personally experienced, because the truth is, guys, normally we're not using a lot of cash. We do a lot of online transactions, of course, being out in the country like we are. And, when we do need to, go into town and do stuff, well, we just put it on the card and, or the debit card, whatever that is, and just pay like that. So I can't remember. Last time I actually pulled cash out of my wallet to pay for something. So kind of interesting there. But I want to hear from you guys. Have you noticed when you've gone into your bank that they're limiting the amount of withdrawals in cash that you can take out? And I also heard deposits are being limited as well, which says to me, guys, that we're probably going to a much lower ratio of deposit to cash. And if it is 6% now, I wouldn't be a bit surprised to hear that it's dropped down to like 4% or something like that, to the point where there really is not going to be hardly any cash truly left versus in comparison to the amount of money that's on deposit in these banks. But, hey, I'd like to hear from you if you've experienced anything like that at all. Now, guys, having said that, I do recommend, no matter what, that if you can swing it, have a few $1,000 in cash sitting around the house anyway. Not that you would use, but that you would use in an emergency should you see the system go down or something like that, where these networks have dropped and nobody is able to use these debit machines and stuff like that. We've seen a number of incidences like that, especially in Canada, when about a month ago, the whole system went down. And it went down for like a day or two or something like that. And you're kind of out of luck if you don't have some cash on hand and you actually need to go and get some stuff like that. But, that's one of the things I usually recommend that folks do. Now, guys, on this other subject of Canada limiting the amount of crypto, I've been really thinking this one over. And definitely it is market manipulation from the government for sure, in the fact that, you can have Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin, and Bitcoin Cash, and you can invest $3 million into those. But it's interesting to me that the altcoins, you can only invest about $30,000 a year in. And the reason that interests me the most is because, of course, lumped in there is all of these ISO 222 tokens. And I just see this, guys, as a form of, how can I put it? It just does not pass the smell test for me. How about I say that? I'm looking at it, I'm thinking either they're about to flip this switch and they're going to be utilizing these assets on a more routine scale, and they're keeping the majority of folks out. Or this is just sheer and utter market manipulation. And guys, as far as I'm concerned, your government, our governments, outside of basic regulation, have absolutely no business manipulating the course of these markets. That would be like saying, oh, you guys can only invest in the Dow Jones Industrial Average companies. You can't invest in anything else up to this amount. You can only put your money in IBM. You can only put your money in like Google. You can only put your money in this and this and this and pick 5 real winners. But all the rest, you can only put maybe, $10,000, $20,000 a year in. Well, guys, that's plain and simple market manipulation. And I don't think the government has any business doing that. But you tell me what you think. I'd really like to hear it. So, guys, we will be back later on this afternoon with our normal video. And until then, I sure hope you have a great one.